everybody. How are you? All right, so we are on night four, day four, night four, right? Of the 7 day high growth entrepreneurship challenge. Hey, everybody. And I feel like we had some really great days. And hey, I'm Dr. Tamu of Coaching by Tamu and Innovative Education and Training. And I work with primarily female entrepreneurs, but men are welcome too, from the Caribbean to grow their ventures, scale, be innovative, and continue their journey along that six-figure trajectory so that we can get $1 million in revenue. Now, last night we spent some time talking about in night three or day three on sacrifices and trade offs that you have to make in order to get to a high growth venture. And we looked at some specific data, statistics around the nature of sacrifices, and looked at the fact that it's basically impossible to have a high growth venture if you are not sacrificing. So I won't delve into too much more because you can always watch the replay. And so, what we're talking about tonight, which is another step on my Her roadmap, which is a business model that charts your way to high growth venture ship. And day one really talks about what is a high growth venture because it is clear to me that many people do not understand what a high growth venture is. So, tonight we're going to be talking about support systems. And the reason why we're talking about support systems is that if you've been with me over this time, you realize that to build a high growth venture based on the characteristics that we would have discussed in day one and in day two, the work that is required to revise your value proposition and in day three, the sacrifices that you'll have to make, you will understand that you are going to need support. Now, interestingly enough, I was finishing up a venture development online course by Techstars. And the last module in that online course was about the mental wellness of entrepreneurs. And if you understand the roadmap, you know that mental health is one of the core areas in the roadmap. So it's one of the core things. You never leave it. You always have to really revisit your mental health throughout the high growth journey. But the co-founder of Techstars, he was one of the educators for that session, and he talked about how there was, when he began in the 90s, very little support for entrepreneurs. And you know, many of the other investors that came on to have that discussion in that module spoke to the fact that support systems are going to be required. And if you don't have support systems, especially when building out a high growth venture, it can really have a deleterious effect on your mental health, even as much as having suicidal ideation and worse yet, committing suicide. And this is something that we don't like to discuss, but the truth is that entrepreneurship, especially high growth entrepreneurship, because it's so different, it's lonely, it's difficult, it's taxing mentally. And we want to look at who will provide you support and what will they be providing you support for. Okay. So who will be, and that who is broad because that who can be an individual, that who can be a group, right, or entity, organization of some type, that who can be an expert, right? It could be a mental wellness expert, it can be a coach, it can be a mentor. So the question is, who is going to be there, or and hopefully there's more than one who, to provide you the kind of support systems that you will require in this high growth venture journey. Now, I want to introduce you to a concept known as the ring theory. Okay, you know me, I love academia, so it's what comes with it. And the ring theory was really initially created to deal with people processing their trauma, right? And it's often used in the mental health space. But really, it is a theory, and it was created by Susan Silk and Barry Goldman, in case you want to look it up. And it is a strategy for dealing with the stress a person may feel, right? When someone they know is going through a crisis. But what if that person at the center of the crisis is you? Now, if you know anything about me, I love to take theory and reimagine it for new situations. And so I want us to reimagine the ring theory. And in the center of the ring is you. You are the one who is experiencing the trauma of being an entrepreneur, particularly one who is building or on the way to building $1 million venture or high growth venture. So in the ring theory, you're going to put yourself in the middle of the ring, like a circle. Yeah. And then I want you to draw what we call concentric circles. So you're in the middle, then you have a circle, then a little bigger circle, and then we're going and going till we get to the end. So maybe 6 or 7 of these concentric circles would be great for you. And you, as the entrepreneur, you're in the middle. And so I want you to identify who or what, right? Who or what will provide you support, with the person or entity who is going to provide the most support in closest to you in the circle. So you're in the middle, and the person or entity providing you with the most support is in the middle, right? Okay. So you're in the middle, and the person providing you support, the most support, is next in the circle, and so on and so on and so forth until you get to the entity providing you the least support. I would also like you to write down, when you do the ring, the concentric circle ring, in each concentric circle, so you're in the middle, and then someone is going to be providing you support, and that person or entity is closer to you. I want you to identify what type of support will they be providing. So is it that they're going to be providing emotional support, mental support, financial support, mentorship support, coaching support, brainstorming support, advisory support? Because I believe we need to understand who or what we are going to, right? And for what reason, so that we can activate what I would call our latent ties in our network. So sometimes there are, if you think about it, there might be organizations that you are engaged in, like associated with. Maybe you've paid your membership fee, but are you really activating it, or are you just latent there in the group? So maybe you need to look at your WhatsApp groups, okay? What support can they provide you? Excuse me. So for instance, right now, I think I have more than 100 people in the WhatsApp her community. And then the question is, are you really activating the community for your best benefit, to provide you support? That support might be a sounding board. So that's emotional support, because there are other women in there like you who are having difficulties. Are you using it, right? Are you reaching out to specific members? Are you posting there? Think about other groups that you're associated with, organizations, associations, right? Are there persons in there who have reached out to you? Because without support, you're going to crumble. And so I wanted to frame support outside of familial support. So family support is great, but you know what? Your family has never been on a high growth roadmap, a high growth entrepreneurship journey. And so the support that they can provide is often inadequate because they do not understand. Now let's move beyond the realm of the support that is intangible. And let's talk about tangible support, especially like if you're a woman. You sometimes feel that tangible support is not for you. And what I mean is, are you going to have someone come in and clean your house? Just today, I was saying that I needed someone to at least maybe do some meals for me, prep meals, because I do have, some health conditions, and it becomes difficult for me to manage all that I'm doing and still, do chores. Are you going to have someone help you with childcare if you're a mother? Are you going to have someone come in and clean your home, even if it's once every other month, or just your bathrooms, right? Because who likes to clean bathrooms? So, what is the support you are going to need so that you have the mental clarity and mental bandwidth? That's what I love to call it, right? Mental bandwidth to put in the work that you require, the strategizing that you require in order to create a high growth venture. So if you're not going to find support, you're not going to succeed, because you cannot do that alone. Or does the support mean that, remember yesterday we talked about um people having like co-founders, etc., right? Maybe that's the support you need. Maybe if you are already, I have some clients already like at close to $250,000 EC dollars, and but they're still the primary talent in the business. They're still the manager, they're still everything. Maybe the support is that you need to bring in an operations manager. Maybe that's the support. Maybe the support is that you need to outsource a team. But we as women are going to think of all these other things before we think of domestic support. It is staggering how much energy it takes to do domestic things. Whether you have children or not, but especially if you have children. And so you're going to need to lift some of that burden, and you're going to need to understand that it is okay. And you're going to have to also understand that there is no shame in it. Ain't no shame in nobody cleaning your house if that is what you need. It ain't no shame in somebody coming to clean your bathrooms if that is what you need. It ain't no shame if somebody had to cook your food and prepare your meals for you if that is what you require. Because the truth is that, remember, we said we're going to have to make some sacrifices. But if you sacrifice without bolstering support on the other end, then you're bound to fail. And perhaps this is one of the reasons why our businesses are not scaling. Because even, well, scaling like gazelles, right? Like rapidly. Because we have so many responsibilities, right? And sometimes, this is like very ironic. Unfortunately, sometimes because we're so engaged in growing businesses and working, we sacrifice entities, engagement in organizations, etc., that could provide support. So we sacrifice, but that might not have been the right sacrifice. Are you in any entrepreneurship groups, right? So that you can learn from others, that people can understand because they've lived in your skin. Are you in any of those? Tonight, I had a meeting. I'm a member of CWIT, which is Caribbean Women in Trade, and we had a little icebreaker, informal kind of happy hour online. And it was so refreshing to be in a room with brilliant, brilliant women, accomplished women, and know that I could reach out and, we shared a lot of things about our journey and they understood. We got great advice from one another, lots of resources shared. So take an inventory. Take an audit of two sets, well, maybe three sets of things. Three sets of things. One is, what groups or organizations are you currently in, but are not activating? I have a few, right? So I have to activate another one that are in alignment with your high growth goals. Take an audit and activate the right ones. The next thing is to take an audit of the people in your life and who can support you and in what. That's where we talked about the ring theory and drawing the concentric circles. So those are the people, right? These are people like your strong ties, right? And then I want you to take an inventory of some expertise that you might require in order to be support systems. So that expertise might be a coach. That expertise might be a mentor. That expertise might be onboarding an advisory board, etc. Right? So these are some categories that you can review. It might also end up, when you do the audit, that you realize, unfortunately, and this is a trigger, especially when you do that audit, when it comes to people in your life, that you really don't have a lot of support. You just don't have it. And that's okay. That's why you can lean on the other categories that we would have discussed. All right. So there's not that much to say tonight, except the warning is dire. You cannot do it alone. You cannot. Okay. And that support looks different for different entrepreneurs because they are at different places in their lives and in their businesses. You also have other considerations, maybe like your health, etc. And so you might need support there. Is it that the support is that you need a personal trainer? Is it the support that you need to join some sort of exercise group in order to keep your energy up, your stamina up, or to get some recreation, right? What is the support? So we're here busy building businesses or making money, because some of us, we're not building businesses, we're just making money, right? But whatever you are doing, we are here now on this journey to be deliberate in the way that we build our ventures. Okay. And in doing so, we are neglecting the fact that you need support. You need support. So your day 4 challenge is already scrolling on screen, and it is to determine your most useful support system right now and activate it. So it's not just to identify it. That's not enough to say, like for me, if I had to choose a support, something I need support with, I think I would need someone to prepare meals, the kind of meals suitable for my diets and all of that. And then the next thing that I feel like I would need support with would be women or like mentors and people who are where I want to be. Because so often I'm always the teacher in a space and I want to be the learner in a space. But I am dealing with that because I have activated some of these groups that I'm in, right? So, like I said, I activated CWIT. I was in that group. I've paid my membership and I hadn't attended anything. And then I said, remember, I told you that I'm working my roadmap as I go through this. And I'm like, okay, Tamo girl, what are some support systems? I'm like, I need to be in rooms with brighter people than me. Yeah. And so I went to the See With Happy Hour, and you will realize, because you know it, that as soon as you articulate something and you think something, things just seem to happen. That's how the universe works, right? And so I was like, oh, look at this email, happy hour. Normally I would have been like, it's just a few, it's like an hour. It's a move go into my prep time for my lives, etc. I might not have committed to that, but yeah, in not committing to that, I would have stifled my growth journey. It was the most rewarding engagement I have. I'm also a co-founder of the Nova, not a co-founder, founding member of Nova's House of Nova Collective, which is a group for women in AI. And I've been lying back in that group. Uh-uh. I am also going to activate it because it aligns with where I am going. Yeah. The other thing that I'll be activating as a support system further in the year, I would say by the end of the first quarter, is I am going to activate a coach for myself. Now, interestingly enough, I always know what I'm supposed to do for myself, but there's something about knowing it for yourself and doing it for yourself that doesn't work. And I need another perspective. And guess what? Because I activated the support system of the Women in Trade group that I'm a part of and went to the happy hour, I've already identified a coach that I want to work with. So there you go, right? And then there are so many other women that can be mentors for me. I'm already eyeing them. And if you know the roadmap, the mentorship piece is almost at the end of the roadmap. And if you've done the her thing, you know why. So I won't go through it here. All right. Now, so you have to really consider support. And this is the reason why we're doing this now, because you want to have the mental framework and having pondered these very serious decisions that you have to make and be ready to put the pieces in place in order to springboard into your high growth journey in January. We don't want to be waiting until we get to our second quarter to realize, like, I'm not going where I want to go. My venture doesn't look any different from last year. Perhaps I've added more money to the bottom line, but we know that is not the high growth venture that we are trying to build. All right. It's not the high growth venture that we're trying to build. So, those are my thoughts for today. And of course, we have the Her Action and Accountability Program, my most affordable program to date. Let me tell you, I've never had a program that was so, I won't say inexpensive, because for some people it might be inexpensive, but let's say so reasonably priced, right? So reasonably priced. Even a coaching session with me is more than, the early bird price was on Monday for the thing. But the reason is I love what I do, and I want women and men, if you desire, to really move on the high growth journey with me. Now, I want to talk about the elements of the program, right? Because even though there's like a whole landing page and everything, sometimes, people don't focus on what we'll be doing. So it's a coaching and co-working program, meaning that, yes, you're going to get coaching based on the roadmap, right? Components. But the majority of the time will be spent working on your actual element of the roadmap. We're going to be we walk in. All right, so let's see. All right, so we start in January. That session will focus on revising your value proposition and setting your goals for 2025 in January. So you're going to just get a little briefing. You will get some pre-work to help guide you there. And so when you leave, everybody would have created the new value proposition in the context of the high growth venture characteristics. Now, remember, we're meeting every other month. We meet at evenings once every other month for 2 hours. Now, you might have some work between months, okay? In March, the focus will be on identifying the qualities needed in selecting a business coach, because that's one of the main steps that we're going to look at on the roadmap. But you're going to have some activities, including a support system assessment and different things that you can work on in February that will take care of those other elements in the roadmap. In May, the session will cover revising your financial metrics and identifying sources of capital, because we cannot grow if we not got money coming in. It's just how we go. Okay. Now, if it is that you want to bootstrap as your source of capital, well, you'll be talking about what might be the best practices behind your bootstrapping method, and what are the financial metrics that are most suitable to track for a high growth venture in your industry, right? Okay, in July, we'll be focusing on growing your team. We'll be creating organizational charts and job descriptions and identifying the key team members required for an ROI based on the goals you set in January. In September, me like tech. I always say tech is your teammate. We will cover automating key processes in your business. So we're gonna dig down deep, and you're gonna talk, and you're gonna say, what are some of the processes you're struggling with? We're gonna see how to automate them. Sometimes it could be that process needs to be thrown out. So we might be doing some process re-engineering, and we're gonna really look at streamlining your operations using tech in particular. In November, the discussion will be on finding a suitable mentor and understanding the difference between a mentor and a coach. And what we're going to do is we're going to brainstorm places and people that can serve as your mentors based on your, growth goals, your industry, your high growth journey, so that, you can create almost, I was going to say hit list, but that don't sound right. So you can create targeted people and understand how are you going to engage with these people, right? So we look at some strategies for that. Now, in December of 2025, we're going to cover sustainability measures. And that sustainability is specific to green measures. And the reason we are looking at green measures is because that's where all the money is. That's where all the assistance is. And if you have sustainable components built into your business in alignment with some of those SDG goals, you're more likely to be able to continue to grow and fund your venture into 2026 because of your sustainability initiatives, and also really differentiating you in this space, particularly in the Caribbean space. And remember, we also said that one of the characteristics for a high growth venture is that regional and international kind of footprint. And so, in order to compete successfully in other spaces and geographical spaces, you're going to need to assess your sustainability measures. We're also going to look at networking strategies. I love this topic, right? A lot of my doctoral work was here, so me like it bad. And we are going to assess the progress that you made towards the year's goal. So in between each session, you will have some pre-work, nothing too heavy, but really targeted work in order to get, cover other elements of the roadmap and prime you for prime participation in and to get the most out of your time in our co-working sessions. We're also going to split off into breakout rooms, success network teams. We'll form board of advisors for one another, etc. And lots of exciting things that we can do collaboratively. So if you're interested in joining the Her Action and Accountability program, the link down below in the description of the video. You can always DM me. We are at a low 115 USD until the close of the 7-day challenge. Then we go up again to 147, and then we go up again to 200 USD. So that was our session tonight. Tell me any thoughts that you might have. And I want to do that trigger warning for you and tell you that sometimes when you're doing the support audits, sometimes you get sad because you realize that you've been really struggling without the support that you require. But I'll also tell you that some of that struggle and lack of support is self-imposed. All right. So tomorrow we meet at 8. I'm going to tell you, what's a good business coach look like, right? When we get into the high growth roadmap program, we are going to delve down deep into everybody's requirements, what they should be looking for in a coach for their specific business. All right. So let me see. Melissa, of course, is always here to support me. So Melissa is a great support system. So she writes in there one of them concentric circles that we talked about. And she said that support is so important, but the audits will help you take the right action steps to get the support you need. And that's true. And that's why I like to use systems, process theory. People think that these things only have places in the classroom. No, these things are practical things that we can use. And I'm always saying that I like to give big business tools to small business owners so that they can emulate and get the same outcome as big businesses. So that's why we're doing the audit, so that we understand the type of support we require and who or what can provide that support. So thank you, everybody. Eh, eh, all right. Good night. See you tomorrow at 8 p.m. Yeah, tomorrow is Friday, 8 p.m. See you. Bye. It's been fun.